Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wrestling Talk. This is the 10-year anniversary series that we're doing on Wrestling Talk. How I will book WWE in a year. We're going to start with the first episode of SmackDown of the whole year and work our way to the Royal Rumble and to whatever shows happen in December based on what I'm deciding. Yeah, but first, if you want to get to the actual matches and how I book, skip to a little bit ahead because we ain't getting straight to the booking. I'm going to tell you who the championships are. I'm not going to spoil any of my feuds, but let's begin with the Raw champions. These are the current champions, and they'll change. The World Heavyweight Champion currently is CM Punk. The Intercontinental Championship is currently Dominic Mysterio. The World Tag Team Championships belong to the champion, the Uso. I mean the WWE Tag Team Championships belong to the Usos. No, the World Tag Team Championship belongs to the Usos. The Women's World Champion is Stephanie McCurry. The Women's Intercontinental Championship is Maxine Dupree. On SmackDown, as of the first episode, we have Undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. United States Championship Carmelo Hayes, the United States Champion Carmelo Hayes. I'm pretty sure this is the WWE World Tag Team Champions, the Wyatt Six. I have to switch the World Tag Team and the WWE Tag Team Championships, but just pretend that you know what I mean. The Women's World Champion currently is Jade Cargill, and the Women's United States Championship is currently Chelsea Green. Okay. Now let's begin. Another thing to know here is I will not be doing NXT, but if NXT stars win the title, they'll be on the main roster. There will be NXT showcases where a main roster star goes up against NXT star every show. And there's going to be special Monday Night Raws and SmackDowns throughout the year instead of Saturday night main events. Okay, let's begin. SmackDown. The first SmackDown on January 2nd, 2026 begins with a match. It is a US Open Challenge where Carmelo Hayes defends his title against his mystery opponent Tank Ledger from NXT. Carmelo Hayes wins in 9 minutes by pinfall, and how I imagine this happening is Carmelo Hayes gets not dominated through most of the match, but he's in control, and all of a sudden Carmelo Hayes hits the first 28 and then nothing but net and ends up winning by pinfall in 9 minutes. The next thing that happens is an angle where Drew McIntyre basically calls out Cody Rhodes and challenges him to a match for the WWE title next week. Cody says yes. How I imagine this is Drew McIntyre is talking smack like, "Yeah, I want a title match, or are you too chicken to give me one?" And Cody Rhodes, being the fighting champion he is, of course, says, "Yes, Drew, I can't wait to defeat you next week on SmackDown." And that goes on for about 5 minutes. They go back and forth, I'm assuming. The next thing of the show is a match. And this match is Kit Wilson versus Axiom. Winner Kit Wilson. in 8 minutes by pinfall. This is just like a little Kit Wilson appreciation match. Kit Wilson gets the win here. Nothing too special. I don't see this being like a great match, but I see it being semi-decent. Okay, the next is Angle. The Miz comes backstage, tells Montez Ford he should drop the dead weight of Montez Ford and let him train him. Ford says no. So I basically imagine the Miz pitching to Montez Ford, hey, how about I train you? I train you, you drop Angelo Dawkins because I can see you being this big star. And Montez Ford is like, no. I want Angelo Dawkins is my best friend. I can't do that. And that's how I imagine that going. This lasts 2 minutes. Next is the match. It's the Street Profits, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins versus MFTs, Solo Sikoa, and Tala Tonga. Winners MFTs in 10 minutes by pinfall. But how this happens is after the Street Profits have a little miscommunication or something. You know, like, they're too busy yapping and Solo, they're argued over something. You could say whatever it is. Maybe Angelo Dawkins got too eager to get the pinfall, pinned Montez Ford when he was about to win the match. They argue a little bit, Solo hits a spike, and the MFT wins. Okay. Angle. Now is Angle. Backstage, a masked man attacked Chris Sabin. 4 minutes. So basically, I imagine this masked man just attacks him, throws things at him, puts him through a glass thing, maybe even hits him with the steel chair a few times. The payoff to this will be next week. Okay, next week's SmackDown. Women's U.S. title match. The champion Chelsea Green. And the champion Chelsea Green defends her title against Candice LeRae and Alexa Bliss. Winner and new champion Alexa Bliss in 25 minutes by pinfall on Candice LeRae. Now, I can see this match going both the way, and we have a new champion already. Alexa Bliss is the new Women's United States Champion. I see this going back and forth, all these women really trying hard to win, and then ultimately Alexa Bliss wins by pinning Candice LeRae. Okay, Angle. The next is Angle. After the match, Nikki Cross attacks Alexa Bliss. 3 minutes. So after the match, Nikki Cross comes out and just beats up Alexa Bliss. The next match is an NXT Showcase match, and it's Sami Zayn versus Ethan Page, where Ethan Page wins in 13 minutes by pinfall after Drew McIntyre cost Sami Zayn the match. I imagine he just hits Drew McIntyre with like something. I'm going to say like a Claymore when the referee was distracted and costing Sami Zayn the match. And then after the match, an angle happens where Drew McIntyre cuts a promo saying he will attack all Cody's friends, starting with Sami Zayn, and then go on and on and on. Furthermore, I think he's attacking Sami Zayn while seeing this. Even though I didn't put it, this lasts 5 minutes. This is just to build up a little hype for the big match they're going to have. The next match is Obafemi versus Randy Orton. This is just like a match I thought that would be good. Winner Obafemi, 15 minutes by pinfall. I see this match going back and forth. Randy Orton makes just a little tiny mistake, and Obafemi capitalize as the rookie. And then, right after that, we go into an angle where Obafemi cuts a promo and says he will have an open challenge at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. This lasts 3 minutes. He basically comes here and says, "Yo, I'm having an open challenge. Anyone could accept. I don't care. I want a match at the Royal Rumble." And ultimately, that's how we get there. The next match is a number one contendership for the United States title at the Royal Rumble. And it's Rey Fenix versus Nathan Frazier versus Alex Shelley versus Angel. The winner is Alex Shelley in 25 minutes by pinfall on Angel. Ultimately, I think what happens here is I would like to say that Rey Fenix is about to win. He hit Angel with his finisher. Alex Shelley capitalizes and gets the win. An angle now. Cody Rhodes says he will have an open challenge for his title tonight. 2 minutes. Basically, he just says, "I'll have an open challenge for anyone who wants it at the main event tonight. Come on, show me what you got." It's open to anyone. NXT, Evolve, AAA, anyone who's with the WWE. Basically, that's what he says. Next is a WWE Women's title match, and it's Jade Cargill versus Blake Monroe from NXT. Winner and new WWE Women's Champion and new SmackDown star Blake Monroe. 25 minutes by pinfall. I'm assuming this goes back and forth, and then eventually Blake Monroe capitalizes on the slightest mistake that Jade Cargill might have made. Angle. Kit Whistle challenged Chris Sabian next week and talks about other stuff. About any random stuff. He just talks about, I'm the best. I challenge Chris Sabian because I want to fight some of the best to prove that I can be the best, something like that. And next is the main event, WWE title open challenge match. Cody Rhodes, the champion, versus Ilya Dragunov. Winner Cody Rhodes in 20 minutes by pinfall. Now I can see this being one of the greatest matches probably of the year. They go back and forth, and ultimately Cody Rhodes wins. And that ends SmackDown. So, right now we have 2 new champions. Blake Monroe is the WWE Women's champion, and Alexa Bliss is the Women's United States Championship. Not champion. Okay. We're going to do 2 bookings per episode. So, let's start with the first Raw of the year. And before we get started with Monday Night Raw, there is something to know. This episode builds up to next week, which will be a 3-hour episode of Raw with all matches, and it'll be called Raw Night of Champions, and will be a special episode edition of Raw. It will be a normal Raw, but a little longer and mostly about the titles. Okay. Raw, January 5th, 2026. Let's begin. NXT Showcase match. Lexis King versus LA Knight. Winner LA Knight. 9 minutes by pinfall. I don't see this being like a masterclass match. I just see it gets the job done. It gets the crowds a little bit excited. Yeah, that's all it does, pipe up the crowd. After that angle, Gunther comes out after the match and beats LA Knight and puts him in a sleeper. This lasts 2 minutes. Gunther just attacks LA Knight, puts him in the sleeper, puts on LA Knight to sleep to eventually build something. Okay. IC title Open Challenge match. Dominic Mysterio, the champion, versus NXT's Miles Bourne. Winner and new Raw star and champion Miles Bourne in 15 minutes by pinfall. I imagine this being a good high-flying match, and Miles Bourne's let's say Dominic tries to cheat and Miles Bourne catches him, and I think he's just a good inspirational person, so personally I think Miles Bourne being the Intercontinental Championship is a good thing. Okay, Angle. Ivy Nile challenged Stephanie Vaquer to a title match at the Royal Rumble. Stephanie Vaquer says yes. I just imagine Ivy Niles being like, hey, I challenge you to a match at the Royal Rumble, and Stephanie, of course, never backing down for her challenge, says yes. The next match. This one is like the sleeper match, but it lasts quite a while. Akira Tozawa versus JD McDonough. Winner Tozawa. 7 minutes by pinfall. It's nothing long. It's just to get the crowds hype. Maybe a little bit high flying, or a bathroom break match. It ain't going to be something groundbreaking. Angle. Maxine Dupree, who was backstage, says she will open an open challenge for the Women's Intercontinental Championship next week. This lasts 2 minutes, and how I basically think she just comes out and says, you know what, I will challenge anyone at Raw Night of Champions, because all championships are on the line, and so will the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And of course it's only 2 minutes, so she doesn't say a lot. A non-title match. CM Punk versus Javon Evans. Winner, Javon Evans, 25 minutes by pinfall after Kofi hits Punk with a chair and a referee doesn't see it. And I'm imagining it's like a head chair shot, even though they're banned. I'm just imagining that's what it would take to, knock CM Punk out and let Javon win. And after that is an angle. Xavier Woods joins Kofi Kingston and Evans in the ring. Beat up Punk. They cut a promo. Kofi says Evans is the new third member of the New Day, and him and Woods will challenge the Usos next week for the tag team titles, and I will challenge CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at Raw Clash of the Champions. This lasts 5 minutes. This basically builds up Javon as a new top star with an established team, and that's what I'm trying to do. Next is a match, and it's just Bayley versus Asuka. Asuka wins in 10 minutes by submission with the Asuka lock. I'm assuming it's a good back and forth for the 10 minutes. Yeah, that's all I can imagine it will be. And then an angle. Backstage, Miles Bourne gets challenged to a title match next week by Logan Paul, and Bourne says yes. I'm assuming Logan Paul runs his mouth a little too much, And Miles Bourne is like, I want to shut this guy up. Of course, I will accept your challenge. And this is 2 minutes. Match Natalya or Natty versus Zoe Stark. Winner Natty, 15 minutes by submission sharpshooter to challenge Stephanie Vaquer next week. It was a number 1 contender match, and I see this being almost like a very technical match. Like, back and forth, they're fighting. They're fighting some. Zoe Stark is doing some high flying here and there. And ultimately, the winner of the match becomes Natalya. Angle. Sheamus gets attacked backstage by Rusev. Then Rusev cuts a promo saying, next week, me and you will fight in a strap match. This just is like, this is what I had to come up with. I mean, I know it's kind of rushed to just do this, but this lasts 5 minutes, and I feel like Rusev and Sheamus have enough history where you don't need the build-up to really have a great match. Okay. The next match is Penta and Rey Mysterio versus Rayo Americano and Bravo Americano, Los Americanos. Winners Penta and Rey Fenix in 30 minutes by pinfall after Penta pinned Bravo. I imagine this being a good back and forth, high flying match, action everywhere. And eventually, let's just say Penta, Rey Mysterio hits a 619. Penta tags in, does a frog splash or something, and pins Bravo. And Angle. And then an Angle. Both teams shake hands and agree to have a match next week on Raw. This lasts 2 minutes. So I just imagine they shake each other's hand out of respect for after the great match they just had, and challenge each other to a second match on Raw. Because we have all the title matches set, we just need a few more. And then the main event, NXT versus NXT. Winners join Raw tag team match. Ricky Saints and Joe Hendry versus Yusuke Sake, Suzuki, and Kale Dixon. Winners Saints and Joe Hendry. Ricky Saints and Joe Hendry. 19 minutes by pinfall when Joe Hendry pinned Dixon. Now this is just to see who becomes on Raw, and of course I picked the 2 people I know, Joe Hendry and Ricky Saints, so they are new Raw stars. I just wanted to do that match because I wanted to have more people to work with on Raw. Yeah, so that's going to end the first ever episode. Next week, or whenever I actually book the next shows, it will be SmackDown. First, it will be SmackDown January 9th, 2026. And then also Raw Clash of Champions, aka Raw January 12th. And all of this is building up to the Royal Rumble in January. Okay. And that's where we're going to end it. Goodbye.